no matter how bad things are with you. Just a few years ago, I couldn't find this sort of money to rub together. I couldn't find it in my wallet. Just a few short years ago, I couldn't pay my children's school fees. I couldn't pay rent. I was given quick notice. What do you guys call it in America? For us in Nigeria, it's quick notice. When, if you don't pay your rent, the landlord comes to drive you away, and then sometimes they throw your things away. So I was there. Not long ago, I couldn't pay rent, and I squatted my family. I squatted my family for years. And it went on and on and on, and it looks like it will never come to an end. Not long ago, owing. I was owing an equivalent of hundreds of thousands of dollars at that time as I was leaving Shell. I had very bad investment, and I left Shell the same year, 2008, that there was global economic meltdown. So even my stocks I was holding didn't mean much. They all fell, and I sold all of them to survive. So when I tell you that you can still make it financially, this is not a motivational talk. This is reality. Because I hear your stories. Many of you sending me messages. I hear your stories, the stories about your financial struggles, the stories about inflation and how you are not able to afford groceries for your family. I hear your stories about people who want to get married, but they are very, very scared. They can't cope with the marital finances at this time. I hear your stories, all kinds of stories. People who can't go back to school because school tuition can be paid. I hear your stories about people who are in debt. Not long ago, a young man contacted me. He said he accidentally stumbled on my Facebook page after he decided to unalive himself. And he said that what he was reading from my page, he said he was devouring the content on my page. In fact, he told me, I was surprised. He was telling me things I'd written and forgotten. He said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to unalive myself again. Let me follow this man. He seems to be talking about hope. It looks like what he's telling me, there is hope. Let me give him a chance. That's what he was telling me. He said, let me give him a chance for 2 or 3 weeks. Let me follow him and see if there's any change. Because he told me that he had already bought all the things he wanted to use to unalive himself. And I said, why would you do that? He said, because he's owing. He's owing the bank. And the bank is after him. He took money and put into an investment or something he thought was going to really blow up, and then he was going to pay the bank back. Does that story sound familiar? And then, of course, it went bad, and it was so bad that he decided that the only option, because he didn't see anything coming from anywhere, he didn't see any help coming from anywhere, so he thought that the only option left was to unalive himself. So I hear all those touching stories. I hear stories about people who said, I stumbled on your YouTube page. People from around the world, they say, I'm 58, I'm 62, and I stumbled on your YouTube page, and I started feeling that there's hope again. So you can still make it. You can still make it. Don't hurt yourself. And don't be too much in a hurry. Wealth is not emotional. Your being emotional, you're crying, you're complaining, all those things don't solve the problem. I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you what to do. So, crying, worrying, anxiety, being bitter against some uncle that you think should have helped you but didn't help you, being bitter against some aunt, or being bitter even against your government. There's no government in the world that actually cares for you. There's no government in the world, anywhere in the world, that will make you rich. So you decide to be rich and you just ignore the government. Because when you decide to be rich, it doesn't matter what the economy, it doesn't matter whether it is the Republicans in power or whether it is the Democrats in power. You make up your mind and take responsibility, because if you're going to be here, like I'm here, I've been here for almost 60 years. In December I'm going to be 60. I have seen governments come and go. And many of all those people, the players in government, they're all dead. Most of the people who were in government, went that government to make me rich, to help me to move forward with my life, they are dead. 1970 was a different government. By 1973 or 1974 or something, a different government. They pursued that head of state. Another one came. A few months after, somebody killed him. Killed that head of state in a coup. Another person came. I don't know. I can't even count the number of governments that I have seen in only 60 years. And you can imagine if I was waiting for the government of Murtala Muhammad, they killed him. Or if I was waiting for government of Shagari or Buhari, what could those people have done for me? And they've done absolutely nothing. It's 60 years. So for those of you, complaining about your current head of state, your current whatever country you come from, though I think if you're in Mali, you should be very grateful, because a lot of us like the Mali guy. It looks like he's very visionary and that he knows what he's doing. But in Nigeria, you're complaining about your current president, as if, what is he going to do for you? What's going to do for you? In another couple of years, he's going to be dead. And then you're probably like 28, 30. What's a man that is heading to the grave going to do for you? Meanwhile, you still probably have 30 years, 40 years ahead of you, 50 years ahead of you for some of you. And then some of you listening, you still have like 25. If you're 60 listening to me, chances are you still have 30 years ahead of you. So the guy in government right now is not going to be there in 30 years' time. So I need to set the stage that coming out of financial difficulties, like what I did for myself, the number one thing is to take responsibility. Okay, let me see a couple of you. Philly, watching from Alaska. Yeah, good to have you here. Yeah, guys, tell me where you're watching from. Peace says network is terrible. I hope you guys can hear me. It seems to be okay here. My network seems to be okay. Hey, Wesizwe. Sorry, I hope I didn't murder your name. You're joining from Namibia. How will you make payment? I guess you want to join the Financial Fitness Challenge. It's in the description of this video. So if you just click on that link, you can join. That's my wealth mentorship group. Yeah. Hello, Olaleko. Good evening. Yes, thank you for joining. All right. Zachumo says, can I ask a question? Yes, please. Everybody go ahead and ask your questions, because it's more like an informal interaction today. And I'm focusing on encouraging everybody about their finances, that you have to let go of the past. The question is not what mistakes did I make. We all made mistakes that brought us to where we are. I made serious mistakes, financial mistakes. So most of it was actually my fault, because If I had managed all the money that came into my hands as a 9 to 5 person, career person, working in the two multinational oil companies. I started my career with Shell, then I was poached by Chevron, and Shell came back and repoached me. And as they were doing all this back and forth, trading my skills, I was earning a lot of money. But I left Shell broke. And then looking back, it was all my fault. I didn't know then what I know today. I didn't know what I know today about investing. I didn't know then what I know today about delayed gratification, about disciplined spending. Because in those days, every summer, we're either somewhere in Europe or when in America, traveling around the whole place. And then sometimes, not only using my salary, but even borrowing from the cooperative to buy tickets, go have a good time. One of those times, our children were still very small, and we landed in JFK, and we were heading to Greeley, a city in Colorado. And I thought, okay, let me give my family a view of America. So let's do the drive. It was about 3,700 kilometers or something like that, driving from New York to Colorado. Rented luxury car, and we're driving, stopping along the road, along some of the states to sleep, to rest. Then we wake up, we continue the next day. We did it like 3-4 days. And it was money. I was burning money. And at the time I was doing this, I remember 2001. I did that calculation. If I had invested just $113 in Apple at the time to buy 100 shares, it was about $1.13. If I had done that in 2001 when I was cruising around, today I did the math with all the splits that Apple did, serious splits. I think one of the splits, they gave you like 7 shares for every one. With all the splits Apple did, with all the dividends that Apple paid, if I had in 2001, I was working with Chevron at the time. So if I had invested just $100, $113, buying 100 shares of Apple, today I would be worth $2.4 million just doing nothing. So we made bitter mistakes. And I think if you're facing difficult financial situation, you need to sit down like I did, to ask yourself, where did I mess up? Yeah, you need to ask, where did I drop the ball? Where did I mess up financially? Because chances are that if you do not know the mistakes that you made that created your financial struggles, if you do not excavate the root causes of your financial problems, chances are that you will repeat the same mistake. You will make that same mistake over and over again. Is anybody following? Please tell me where you are. I need some interaction, okay? If you're getting value already, just type value. I need some interaction. Yeah. Thank you for all the love. Those of you who are already doing the love, please do it. Yeah, just take a moment and then like this video, share it so other people. Okay, Dixon, thank you. I just want to make sure that people can hear what I'm saying. Yeah, hello, Augustine. Hello, Peace. Okay, so Peace, you can hear me, and I hope your network is much better. All right. Kayede says value. Okay. Wesizwe says value. Okay, Hile from Ireland. AQQQ, first time seeing you. Hi from Finland. All right, excellent. Okay. Yeah, Festus says, to be frank, what you are doing to most of us is indescribable. I am getting encouraged day by day that there's still great hope for me to make it financially. Festus, I can guarantee you, you will be okay. I hope you started when I told you my own story. I fell, I fell to the rock bottom financially. And then why my fall was even spectacular, very spectacular, was that I was up there. So if you're falling from this height and just hitting this, it's not painful. But I was really up there. Having worked with multinationals, having traveled around the world, having seen the world, having flown first class, business class, tasted the life, I fell from all that to not being able to pay my children's school fees. First, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I fell flat, and it did not last 1 year. That fall started in 2008. It lasted until 2016, 2017. More than 8 years. More than 8 years of struggle. Started business, it will fail. I went on television, I was on national television. Nothing was coming. People loved my content on television in those days. But they were not coming to my seminars or workshop. I remember one of those years, after having been on television, it was national television, and it was on cable. And so people from different countries around Africa, at least, used to watch. I used to get emails and calls from Angola. I was surprised. I got from Sudan. I got from Somalia. Of course, I got from Ghana. I got from everywhere in Nigeria. So people were watching, and they loved the content. And I would say, all right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? I'm going to hold a workshop at such and such date. And the workshop, and it used to be peanuts. I used to run 5,000 naira workshop. Peanuts. 5,000 naira today would be the equivalent of $2 something, or like $3 or something of today. And even though millions of people were listening to me, when it came to paying to attend my workshop, I would pay for venue, and nobody would come. So I lived that life, trying to find my feet. I fell to the rock bottom. So you guys, you're listening to someone who fell to the rock bottom financially. Most of you cannot fall to the level that I fell. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. So that's why when people come to, and then it's not that it lasted for 1 month or 6 months, more than 8 years. And as the 8 years were going, bills were not waiting. The people, my debt were not waiting. Banks and people I was owing. The children's school fees were not waiting. And then another guy, wanted to unalive himself. He contacted me, said he had a property in Benin that he wanted to sell, and that he's put it out there for almost 1 year or something. Nobody has bought it. And then there was so much pressure because the people he borrowed money from were threatening him. So he thought that the best solution was to unalive himself. I asked this guy, how much are you owing? He said 500,000 naira. I said 500. So your life, your soul, your life, you looked at your life, and your life is not worth 500,000 naira. That's why you want to take your life, because you're owing that. If everybody having financial problems would unalive themselves, nobody will remain in this world. I'm telling you. Because you're having financial situation, you think you're the only one. So it's not that people are not having financial issues, but what's separating the men from the boys is knowing how to deal with financial problems, when you fall to the rock bottom. So let me share some experiences and tell you what you can do. And it's not conventional, because that's not the sort of thing that most of you would hear. But the number one thing, please type it as I'm saying that it's coming from the top of my head. I'm not using a script. the number one thing that you must protect when you are going through financial troubles is your self-esteem, your self-worth. Please type self-esteem. Type self-esteem. Let me make sure you guys are listening. Type self-esteem in the comment section. First thing you must defend is your self-esteem. Because the moment financial problems deal with you to the point that it starts eating into your self-esteem, you will not recover. The secret to your recovery from financial problems, from financial struggle, from poverty and lack, the secret of your recovery is your self-esteem. Write it down at the corner of your heart. Memorize what I've just said. Keep it before your eyes. The secret to your recovery from financial struggle, from poverty, is your self-esteem. This is why the first thing that lack or poverty attacks is your self-esteem. And of course, your identity. Once your self-esteem is gone, your identity, follows. That's when you begin to look at the people around you. Maybe look at your old schoolmates. If they are doing well, you are not doing well. You are telling yourself, I'm a graduate in industrial chemistry. I'm an architecture graduate, and I graduated 25 years ago. Look at where I am. I am a failure. After graduating for 30 years, after 30 years, what do I have to show for it? And then something keeps on telling you, oh yeah, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. Look at other people. Look at you. Has it happened to somebody? Your self-esteem, your self-worth, because the society has unfortunately tied people's sense of value and sense of worth to money. Unfortunately, people have tied their self-worth to money. You look at the social media, you see the way people have no idea what money. They come, like in some of you in Nigeria, there's a guy that comes to social media to say money in our water. And then people are showing you all this fake luxury life. They're taking pictures on private jet, taking pictures on in very expensive cars, and taking pictures in big hotels and mansions and things like that, and showing you. Then you start feeling poor. You start feeling like you're less. You let these people make you think that you're less, because the society has told you, oh, money is everything. That if you don't have money, you are nothing. How many of you hear it? How many of you have heard that? You've heard it said. In fact, even a popular television preacher came the other day and said that, very horrible. He said that the reason that Jesus did not leave his mother to Peter when he was on the cross, that the reason was because Peter was poor. Peter didn't have money. I don't know. Did anybody also hear that? So when you're hearing that in the religious setting is trying to tell you that you are nothing because you don't have money. You come to social media, the social media is also telling you that you are nothing because you don't have money. Then maybe, unfortunately, if you have a bad spouse, because I'm going to talk about marriage and how important unity in marriage is to coming out of bad financial situation. If you come home and then your wife starts disrespecting you because you don't have money, you're finished. Don't let it get to you. So that's why I'm saying that your self-esteem, guard it. Always tell yourself, your identity is not money. You are not money. You are more valuable than money. Wherever you are listening to me, I need you to place your hand over your heart. Everybody do it. Even though I'm not there with you, I can feel you doing it. Place your hand over your heart and say, I, mention your name. I, Ogbo Awoke Obo, I am more valuable than money. What is money? You know the value of your life, the value of your soul. So don't let society, don't let the community, don't let social media, don't let your religious affiliation or wherever you, don't let these people make you belittle yourself just because you are going through financial problems. Because throughout the time I was going through the financial problems, I never felt different. I'm still the same old boy. I was the same old boy who worked in Shell. When I got the quit notice, I was still the same old boy. I didn't change. My value didn't change because they drove me out because I couldn't pay rent. Are you getting what I'm saying? Is somebody getting what I'm saying? My value did not change because I couldn't pay my children's school fees and they drove them out of school and they came and stayed in the house. I didn't lose my value. I'm not more valuable now because I'm talking to you on YouTube or because I'm showing you a few dollars on my in my wallet. So whether I have the dollars here or not, it doesn't affect my value. And so you've got to come to that point so that you don't let anybody make you think small about yourself. So first thing, please, that you need to do is to protect your self-esteem. Okay? Say it over yourself. Yes, Rina, yeah. Yeah. Say it over yourself. Wake up in the morning. Every day, place your hand on your heart and say, I'm more valuable. Listen, all the wealth, all the collective wealth of this world, I hear that gold market cap hit $30 trillion within the week. And crypto is about around 3 point something trillion dollars. The stock markets in the world, I don't know, maybe if you put all that together, all the world economy together, maybe $300 trillion. Ladies and gentlemen, Festus, let me mention some of the names I see here. Festus, Samuel, Renaya, Odesomi, $300 trillion cannot buy your life. It cannot buy your life. So protect your self-esteem. I plead with you. You are not the first person going through financial difficulty. In fact, let me even tell you another shocking one. Many of you don't know. I did my mandatory National Youth Service in 1988-89 when I graduated from the university. I graduated in 1988. I was 22 years and a couple of months, when I graduated. So for those of you watching from Ireland, Alaska, different places, so this country has a mandatory national service for graduates. And so you have to complete that before you go out there to start looking for work or to do business or whatever you want to do. So I graduated my first degree in 1988. I did my mandatory youth service. I lectured at the University of Maiduguri in the biological sciences. I taught evolution, cell biology, and evolution. Okay. Now, so I had medical students and I had biological sciences students. I was teaching at the time. Now, when I finished, I got admission to do my PhD in genetic engineering in the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. There was a Professor Amos at the time that I was corresponding with. So I sent him my PhD proposal, what I wanted to work on. So at that time, I wanted to work on the domestication of, it's called Trionomis vermicularis. It's called grass cutter, and is premium wild meat in Nigeria at that time. So it hadn't been domesticated. That was what I wanted to work on, on my PhD. And the professor over there was very excited to take me. So I was given admission to the Hebrew University of Jerusalem to go do my PhD in genetic engineering. But as I was finishing my youth service in 1989, I didn't have the finances, and I was hoping that I was going to secure some scholarship. But unfortunately, that same year was the year that they were resettling some Jewish, citizens or something from Russia. I forget how many they were, 70,000 or one big number like that. So there wasn't scholarship or something available for me to do it in the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Hebrew University of, yeah, I think that's what it is, Hebrew University. Anyway, so that's how I got stranded. I left Maiduguri, now went to Lagos. In Lagos, I did not know anybody. But I had a few people who were from my village who sold gari, they sold food stuff and things like that, beans, rice, they sold all those things. And usually, if you know the people from my village, they lived in slums. That was how I found myself in Makoko, because there was no place to stay. Hello, I started my life as a graduate, as a university graduate, in the slums, squatting with 5-6 people in the room. I don't know how many of you know Makoko. In fact, if you go to Makoko today, Makoko is Paris or London compared to what it was in 1989. Let me describe my poverty at that time. You wake up in the morning, by the time, because the slum was by Lagos Lagoon. It was just by Lagos Lagoon. So when you wake up in the morning and put your leg on the floor, it's water. And there was this constant stench of the slum, of the, if you've lived in a slum close to lagoon, I don't know what, I think it's hydrogen sulfide. There's this constant stench, plus all those dirty gutters. Then, near where I was living, there was this white garment church that will never let you sleep. Every night, they were meeting. In the slum in Makoko, where I started my life, my financial journey, the mosquitoes, that was the year I decided that mosquitoes cannot kill me. Because the mosquitoes in Makoko, mosquitoes in Makoko, at that time, they were a different breed. If a mosquito perched on your skin, within 30 seconds, it has drawn up to 2 liters of blood. It was terrible. That was my life. And the mosquitoes, if you use insecticide in those days, we used to have all these shell talks and all kinds of whatever. I forget their names in those days. It's the more you apply this insecticides, the more the mosquitoes came after you. It's like the insecticide were actually food or nutrition for the mosquitoes. That's where I started my financial journey, in the slum. One day, I'm not making this up. The rats in that slum were big. The rats in that slum. There was the day I actually saw a rat chasing a cat. I even wrote about it in my book, The Financial Freedom for Every Youth. I wrote in 2008. I'm not joking. I'm telling you, I'm not joking. If you saw that rat, you will run yourself. Very huge. Just came out. And the cat picked race. This was not normal. That was where I started my financial journey. The guy talking to you. So I didn't have that sort of privileged background. I didn't have the so-called silver spoon in my mouth. So when I tell you that you can recover, when I tell you that you can still make it financially, even if you're 55, even if you're 60, like me, you can still make it financially. It was on my 60th year, now that I'm almost 60, just a few months ago, that for the first time, it took me 59 years to start earning money online. Like money that can take care of me. Online. Whether I'm sleeping, It was on my journey to 60, my 59th year, that all these things are happening. So you can make it. You can still make it financially. So what was happening when I was in Makoko in 1989, 1990, up to 1991? It was horrible. What was happening? Let me tell you what was happening. And then another thing that will help you to recover financially and to do well financially. I'm not a wealthy person. I'm not a millionaire, but I'm doing well. So while I was in Makoko, I discovered something. I discovered the world of books. It was actually my father, because my father was a headmaster. He was a teacher in primary school. And my father, first of all, impressed the love of reading in me. And he had a library. And I still remember in that library, there was a book that changed. I was 7 or 8 when I read that book. The title of that book was Makers of Civilization. There were 2 volumes, volume 1 and volume 2. And then it told stories of great people and people who actually influenced civilization in engineering, in exploring the world, in medicine, in all kinds of things. Vasco da Gama, this guy who discovered the Stephenson screen or something like that. The guys who discovered the thermometer. All those stories, they sparked this incredible curiosity. So I was a village boy. Throughout my primary school, secondary school, and university, anytime I was home, I studied with bush lamp because there was no electricity. Where would you find electricity? In 1970s and then 1980s when I went to school. There was no electricity in my village. It's bush lamp. I don't know how many of you know this bush lamp. So guys, I've paid my dues actually. Throughout. The only place I saw electricity was whenever I was in the university, or in the secondary school. Once I came home to read, to study, everything was done with bush lamp, with kerosene and a wick. That was my story. So what did I discover in Makoko? Hunger can't kill you when you have a purpose, when you have hope. Hunger cannot kill you. Hunger dealt with me. Because there was no money, there was nothing. So many days I'll go without food, and then some days I'm able to get gari, to buy gari. They used to tie in small nylon. But I wouldn't be able to afford the sugar. The sugar, I think it was like 5 kobo. 1 kobo, 5 kobo in those days. I didn't have that money. That was how I was introduced to the world of books. Because the thing is that, okay, I didn't have job. I was going around applying for job. Nobody employed me. But there was a national library at Alagomeji. For those of you who know Lagos and who know Makoko, if you come out of Makoko and make your right, you are going to Alagomeji. There used to be a national library. It's such a tragedy that the country doesn't have libraries again. Oh my God. What a loss. It's such a tragedy. The country used to have libraries, national libraries. And no wonder our youth today are struggling. Those libraries were good. Because I would go bury myself in library, and I found that you can actually read, and the satisfaction you get intellectually can fill your stomach when you are hungry. Now, what did the books do for me? What the books did for me was, my body was physically in Makoko, but my spirit was exploring the worlds I was reading about in the books. So I used to see myself through the things I was reading. As of that time, I didn't have international passport. Who would talk about international passport, Meanwhile, I was a graduate. I didn't have international passport, so I've never traveled anywhere abroad or something. But I used to see myself in Makoko in 1989, 1990. I saw myself traveling around the United States. From the books I was reading, I was imagining what life would be. Going to the United States, going to the UK, traveling to different parts of Africa, traveling to Asia, and all that. I could encounter these words in the books I was reading. And one book that particularly stood out for me that I read at that time, that I would recommend that everybody listening to me find that book and read. And if you have children, give them those books. If you have children who are teenagers, even who are like 10 years old, find that book and give them. I'm telling you, that would be one of the finest things you've done for them. That book was written by an author called John C. Maxwell. And then the title of that book was Your Attitude, the Key to Success. I read that book, 1989, 1990. That was why started the revolution. After reading that one, I read another one of his books, Be All You Can Be. Be All You Can Be, by the same author, John C. Maxwell. Ladies and gentlemen, books can literally change your life. But how many of us read, even as you're listening to me? When was the last time you read? But I'm telling you, if we can replace scrolling with reading fine books. Look at this book I was reading. I've been reading, over the weekend. Look at this one, for instance. Incredible. Okay, so Behave, written by Robert Sapolsky. The Biology of Humans at Our Best and Worst. The Biology of Humans at Our Best and Worst. I have a lot of books here. So many times, an idea from one book is all it takes for your breakthrough. So what I'm discovering is that your struggle time is actually your reading time. Somebody type it in the comment section. Your struggle time is your reading time. Is the time that nature has given you to read. Because one idea from a book, and it doesn't have to be a book about money. I have books here on Chinese philosophy. I have books here, a history of ancient India. The kind of books I'm reading, history of ancient India. I have books on spirituality here. I have books on different subjects, because you never know. You never know. So the mistake many of us make is that when we are struggling, we don't read, we scroll. I'm telling you, reading still has its place. Even holding physical books, it still has its place. I know that you can read PDFs. I know that you can, listen to podcasts and things like that. I do all those. But nothing still beats holding a physical book, reading it, holding a pencil, marking the hell out of it. Because one idea from a book, and there are so many books that have not been digitized. There are many books, that have not been digitalized. Many of them are still physical. Okay. Now, my body was in Makoko, but through the books I was reading, I was seeing myself traveling around the world. America, South America, Europe, Asia, different countries in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened? After a few years, my body rose from the slums of Makoko and then met my spirit where it was dreaming. And I found myself traveling through Europe, through Asia, through America, Canada, United States. I've gone to all those places. And today, if I want to go to the United States tomorrow, I can. All I need to do is get to the airport and I can fly. But it wasn't like that. So now, can you imagine? So because let me connect it to what I was telling you about preserving your self-esteem. So can you imagine if at the time I was in Makoko, I was letting the fact that I was a dweller in the slum, affect my self-esteem, I guarantee you that today, 30 something years after, I would still be in that Makoko. I left people there. I left people in Makoko slum. But see, every day as I woke up, every day as I was reading these books, I would tell myself, I don't belong here. There's more. That's another thing you need to be telling yourself. You wake up in the morning. Tell yourself, there's more. There's more to me than this. Always tell yourself. Don't saturate your mind with news and all these terrible things people listen to. Because one of the things I did to protect my mind when I was going through struggle, and even now, I stopped watching television and I stopped listening to news. Today, I still don't have television. Today, I still don't listen to news. Any news I get just happens, like it comes to me like accidentally. I just have to. But I don't go out there looking for the news. Okay, terrorism here. Okay, Gaza, Chicago. What's my business? What's it doing for me? They kidnapped, this thing, this accident. People are always hunting. See, the human mind seems to have this tendency to hunt for, like, what is it? What's the word? To just hunt for. The word I'm looking for is not putrid. Like obscenity. Like obscene things, obscene information. The human mind defaults to obscenity. Gory news, bad luck, accidents, war, terrorism, killing, deaths, air crash. And that's why the news media exploit that when there's a helicopter crash somewhere in far away, like a country you don't even hear his name, Tonga. That's how CNN will be repeating every 15 minutes, and then you are there. And your mind is being traumatized. Somebody write trauma. Trauma is the reason many people do not recover. They do not recover from financial problems, financial struggle. Because every day, your brain is being traumatized. A traumatized brain doesn't make wealth. And you're there soaking in all this information. And then it's building fear, uncertainty in your subconscious. If you need to create wealth, the last thing you need to store in your subconscious is fear, trauma, doubt. You know why? Albert Einstein was once asked, what's the most important question in the universe that anybody could answer? Without wasting time, he said that the most important question that everyone must answer is the universe friendly? You can type it. He said that's the most important question. Is the universe friendly? Do you know why? Because your answer will determine the rest of your life. If you say that the universe is not friendly, you tend to spend the rest of your life fighting enemies. You tend to see everything as against you. You walk into the office, people greet you, you are holding back. You can't shake hands with people because these are bad people. And then people give you some good gesture. I don't know if it has happened to you. I was driving my SUV a couple of years ago through a village square market. And so I was driving slowly because usually in Africa, you see most of these village square markets or these roadside markets in the evening, they literally sell in the middle of the road. So they were in the middle of a road. So I was driving quietly. They were removing their wares, removing their trays with their something. And I was going very slowly as they were removing those things. But then I accidentally ran over a woman's mangoes. She had mangoes in her tray. I accidentally ran over it. And then, so there was some screaming behind me. I looked at the mirror. I saw, oh, I ran over this woman. And for these poor villagers, that was all the income. That thing was what she was hoping to sell to buy food to feed her family. So I felt terrible. I felt saddened. So I stopped and I went to beg. Oh, Mama, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So, and I brought out a wad of cash from my wallet, which was far, maybe that was also the problem. It was far, far, far more of more value than the mangoes in her tray. Do you know what this woman did? She picked up her tray and started running and shouting at me, oh, that I want to use that to do money ritual. I want to, and then she started telling everybody there, hey, look at him. He wants to use me to do money ritual. I know that. And then the people gathered because I wanted to use that to do money ritual. I sat there. I stood there shocked. I mean, they could easily have lynched me. I don't even, but I just stood there. It was, Anyway, so, okay. Sam Aden, I don't know why you are here. Okay, so, I don't know why you are here. We don't want that, please, here. Okay, so I've removed the troll who came here. So sometimes we have them. Somebody said, what is ritual? Okay, so I know people from different parts of the world will not understand. But money ritual is a sort of voodoo thing that people do, which involves human, I don't want to use the word because I don't know how the algorithm, but you understand what I mean. It involves human blood or something. So a lot of people believe that, or a lot of people actually do it. So they have questionable sources of wealth. So they go diabolical and then use human lives to make money. So it's a very common thing for those of you in Africa. I'm sure that you are not, this is not new to you. But I know that the guys asking are probably from the US or Europe or something like that. So it's very common here. And people actually do it. Okay, so people actually do it. So that's what she thought. She said that I wanted to. Now, I'm illustrating to you why the answer to Einstein's question makes a whole lot of difference. Because if you believe that the world is an unfriendly place, everything, you're going to live, what's the word? You're going to be defensive. You're also going to be living in fear. You're also going to be living, there's a particular word I'm looking for, paranoia. Okay, you're going to be very paranoid. Everybody will be enemy. Every policy of the government is against you. Everything your company does is against you. Everything. You suspect everything and everybody. Do you know people like that? Oh, there are a lot of them. I see a lot of them. Like the woman I told you, I was giving her money to compensate her for her goods. Now she judged my empathy. She misjudged my empathy that I wanted to use that for money ritual. But if you say, again, there are also some religious people. That's not religious people, especially here in Africa. You hear their prayer. It's because of this same thing Einstein was talking about. They're always praying, they're always having enemies. They're always praying for enemies to fall and die. I know one who has been in that particular religious congregation where they pray for people to die. I know one. He's been in that place for 30 years. More than 30 years. And his life is so miserable. He's not doing well. His life is miserable. If he calls me today, every time he calls, it's for money. He's older than me. But he's in that place. He still has enemies. So you're praying all your enemies fall and die. And you've been praying for your enemies to fall and die for 10 years, for 15 years, for 20, 30 years. And then enemies have never fallen and died. Enough for you to be successful. There's something wrong. So it's because of that Einstein's question. You believe that the world is filled with evil and then enemies. But if you believe that this is actually a friendly place, that God made the world and said it is good. And then you look at flowers, my God. You look at flowers, you look at trees, you look at even your own life, you look at your biology, the heartbeat, the way your eyes work, the way digestion happens without you even knowing about it. It's a beautiful word. I say, who sang that song? I don't know. He said, what a wonderful word. I wish somebody could copy the lyrics and put in the comment section. Let us see. He said something about skies are blue, something, and I say to myself, what a wonderful word. Do you know that if you believe that this is a wonderful world and that goodness and mercy follow you all the days of your life? We say it when we go to church, but not too many people believe it. Do you know how things work out for you? Incredible meetings. Because for me, I'm there. I believe God is with me. I believe that this is a wonderful world. I believe, like King David said, King David, filled with the Holy Spirit, about 3,000 years ago, said that the earth is filled with the glory of God. That's what I choose to see. Yes, there is evil. Yes, there is darkness. Yes, there are witches and wizards. Yes, there are all those things. But I don't have any business with them. I don't have any covenant with them. But see, those people who believe everything and everybody is a witch and wizard, see, reticular activation system will continue to give you more of what you are trying to avoid. That's why all those people who are always praying about witches and about village people, that's why every day they never lack witches. There are witches. There are witches and wizards. They exist. I just don't recognize them. I don't have any. I'm in the kingdom of light. They're in the kingdom of darkness. The light shines in darkness, and darkness cannot comprehend it. I am a son of light. I am not the one that should be afraid of darkness. Darkness should be afraid of me. So, what I've said so far is, when you are going through financial difficulties, preserve your self-esteem. So, number one, don't let people make you feel small or make you feel that you're not enough because you don't have money. Don't let social media, don't let the society belittle you. They should belittle you, but you must never belittle yourself just because you're having financial problems. Number two, forgive people. Forgive people. Make a list. Even as I'm talking about it right now, think about all the people who have offended you. Think about all the people who have done real harm to you. You've never talked to them. You've never forgiven them for the past 3, 4, 5, 10 years. Forgive them. Forgiving them does not mean that you should go and become their friends. But you've got to forgive them from your heart. Because many of us are prisoners of bitterness. We are prisoners of lack of forgiveness. The people we haven't forgiven, they are not the ones suffering. You are the one suffering. When you hold all these grudges in your heart against people, no matter what, you see, people come to my Facebook page, people who don't know who I am, they say all kinds of things about me. People, whatever. I forgive. Jesus said, when you stand praying, say, forgive all men. You see, if you don't forgive men, their trespass against you, that your Father in heaven will not forgive you. So that's why many of us are carrying these black clouds over our heads. Whatever we do does not work because we've not forgiven people who hurt us. And I hear people who say, oh, what that man did to me, I will never forgive him. You're destroying yourself. And I can tell you, many of you, the reason your financial struggle has continued for such a long time is because you haven't forgiven. Somebody duped you. Somebody duped you 15 years ago. Somebody duped you 6 months ago. It's very painful because I've been duped. I've been taken advantage of. But you know what? Forgive them. A few months after a year and a month after my wedding was on my birthday, 2nd December 1995, on my 30th birthday. We moved from Lagos to Ibadan because I was doing my postgraduate studies at the University of Ibadan at the time. And because I didn't have money to live in a very good place, we stayed somewhere in the outskirts of Ibadan at that time. And then our first week of January, my wife will know the particular day, but I think it was like on the 4th of January, 1996. Armed robbers came. They broke our door while we were sleeping. They came at about 1:15 a.m. Broke my door. And then I had gone out to the door to try to resist them. When I noticed they were there, so I took a pestle, a wooden pestle, and went and stood by the door. But by the time I thought the door made sense. That door was useless. They just gave it one kick and the door fell in. So I ran, behind a wall, and they came and pointed. They knew I was there, so they came. One of them came, pointed a gun right here at my chest. So I panicked and ran out of. Anyway, long story short, they carried all the treasures in that house, everything, including all our wedding gifts that we still had. I remember a lady, who worked at the central bank at the time, gave us a very expensive, it's called ashoke. What's ashoke in English? Somebody can type in the comments. And they carried it, took everything. I had to forgive them. If I didn't forgive them for stealing everything, taking our wedding ring, stealing everything, if I didn't forgive, they were robbers, they offended me. But I had to forgive them from my heart. I don't know who they are, but I forgive them. Because when you let it go, that is when incredible blessings, just come. Because I look back at all the things that they have stolen. We have those things like 100, 200,000 times, if not 1 million times what they stole. But can you imagine if I've been holding on since, that was 4th January 2007, because our first son was just a couple of months then. He was born in October of 1996. So can you imagine 1997, if I've been holding grudges against these people, I wouldn't be there. But then whenever I remember that armed robbery thing, I was glad I let it go. Even though they offended me, I let it go. Today we have 1 million times what those people stole. They also attacked us again, stole things, took my camera, took all kinds of things and all that. But today, all those things I forgave them. So all I'm saying is, forgiveness is not a religious thing. It is a spiritual thing. And there's a big difference between religion and spirituality. So it doesn't matter what your religion is, you need to forgive so that you can release yourself to build fresh wealth. All right, let me look at a couple of our comments. Then I can take questions. If you have questions, you can type. Yes, don't allow anyone to belittle you, and don't belittle yourself. That's correct. Onyeka. Yes. Oluyemi, forgiveness opens door of favor. Absolutely. Peace says, I thought of canceling someone's debt today. She's owing me over years now. I will forgive her and let go of the money tonight. Yes. Forgiveness does not necessarily mean that you should go and, it doesn't mean you have to be friends. It has nothing to do with a person. It has a lot to do with you and God. Forgiveness opens doors for you, okay? Okay. Jay says, it looks like no black African cares about Suriname. Her parents just came here as slaves 150 years ago, and we as Baba Pai came. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but Suriname is one of the countries on my visiting list. In the next 2-3 years, I will spend some time in Suriname. There's a Ghanaian blogger who sort of opened up. So people do care. There was a Ghanaian blogger who made Suriname very, very popular. So we know you are there, okay? But again, it doesn't matter any part of the world that you are. These principles work the same. Okay, Cargo Crew, thank you very much. Yes. So this is the Wonderful World lyrics. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Absolutely. That's what it is. That's what it is. So we have to believe that this indeed is a wonderful world. Okay. Third thing I would like you to do, if you're facing serious financial difficulties, I've talked about protecting your self-esteem. I've talked about read like crazy. I've talked about forgiveness, because you've got to clear the spiritual blockages so that the wealth can manifest physically. Because wealth is spiritual. Wealth is first of all spiritual before it manifests physically. And so clearing the blockages of poor self-esteem, of feeling that I'm not enough, when you actually begin to tell yourself you are enough, you'll be amazed, how ideas can come from nowhere. Number 4, I want you to think about something that you have, a skill that you have, that you can monetize, that you can use to solve a problem. My friends, technology has made it so accessible today to make wealth, starting from zero. If you think about a problem people around you have that you can solve, that is where the money begins. It doesn't have to be a big problem. In fact, before you even do that, maybe the step before that one is to please humble yourself. Please type it in the comment. Humble yourself. Because many times I meet people who say, I'm a graduate. I cannot do that kind of job. Humble yourself. Start from there. If it's to wash plates in a restaurant, if it's to do a door delivery, if it's to do what? Humble yourself. Let cash start coming in. Most people who are big today started like that. Humble yourself. within this period that I had very serious financial problems, ladies and gentlemen, I sold fruit juices. I made fruit juices and sold by the roadside. I had already left Shell. I was already a graduate. I was already married and I had children. But I sold by the roadside. So I would put a music speaker. I'll put some music speaker by the roadside and by the square, Opera Square, where people came to jog and things like that in the mornings. I wake up very early, go set up there. So plug some Bluetooth with music there, and I'll be dancing and asking people to come and buy. I made pineapple juice with ginger, orange juice, tiger nut, coconut milk, all kinds of things. I'll be there advertising, dancing. And then sometimes I would playfully tell them, okay, let's do some push-up competition. So just attract traffic to my market. Humble yourself. Don't say that anything is too small to start. From where you are, start. Because many times the wealth is not coming because one of the first laws of wealth is humility, and the other one is patience. Truly wealthy people are humble. That's why these ones who go around saying money in a water ship, they don't know what wealth is. They do not know. When I watch all those things that these guys are doing on social media, I'm like, do these people really know what wealth is? Wealth is humble, is unassuming. Wealth is patient. So start from somewhere. I sold juices. I made and sold juices by the road. A former Shell staff. So be ready to humble yourself, to start from something small. Okay. The next thing is now the one I was talking about. Find a problem. Find something your hand can do. My wife was also amazing. My wife is a top professional. She's a big, well-trained professional. A medical person. When we're going through this difficulty, she has started making chin-chin. I don't know what they call chin-chin. She will roll flowers. She will stay up all night. I had to stop her because the thing was too much. But that's what she was making. And then in the morning, she will fry them or something, bake them, and put in small nylon and go around and sell. This is a big woman. Big woman. The reason many of us have stayed too long in our financial difficulty is that we are not humble. We are thinking, oh, this is beneath me. But listen, if it can give you money, and that is the low-hanging fruit, something that you can start doing, do it to start raising cash. There's something that, when you start raising cash, there's something it does to your self-worth and to your self-esteem and to your confidence. It restores it, and you need that confidence. And then from there, you can scale it. The next thing I will encourage you to do is to find yourself in a community of progress. Stop going to a bar to drink beer with people who are going nowhere. You go to a bar because that thing is just coping mechanism. It's not moving you forward. You are having financial problem, and of all places you will go is to go and hang out in a bar to drink beer. Where is that one taking you to? With people who are going nowhere. But find places that you can, you have acquaintances. You have, if you're 40, 50, you've met some good people. If it is, I remember my mentor used to take me to Ikoyi Boat Club. In that boat club, while we are sitting there, you will see Otedola walking because Otedola was part of it. You will see names I don't even, Dangote was part of that club. And so this man takes me there, and I'm sitting and I'm meeting people that you only read about in newspapers. One key to to coming out of your financial difficulties is the kind of company you find yourself. Find a way. Find a way to keep close to rich people. Find a way. If it is the golf club, if it is the whatever, because many times the billions are not made in the boardroom. The $1 billion contracts come from the golf course. It comes from hanging around, attending conferences where people, you have a profession. If surveyors are meeting, attend conferences, borrow money, go there. One meeting, one person, and then let me plead with you. If you are going for a conference or you're going for such things, don't go as a beggar. Don't go as a needy person, because one of the things that wealthy people hate is when you come there like when you go there patronizing. Don't go there as a beggar. Don't go there as needy. Always go there because you have something you can give, you can contribute. I remember when I used to meet with all these wealthy people, I used to go like, okay, I'm good at writing. I write better than I speak. And I said to them, I remember it was a couple of wealthy people, many people, I don't even want to name drop them, but I pitched in those days to do their biography. I said to them that, listen, you've achieved so much, and that the young people in this country think that you just came there, because some of them tell me their stories. One of them, big guy, big name. At a point, at a time in place, about 40% of Nigeria's economy was on that man's shoulder. That's how big he was. And then I was riding with him one day. He said that the first time he wore shoe was when he was already 12 years. He wore sandals or shoe. He was already 12 years. I was shocked. So I was telling this guy, how would anybody believe this? They see your name all over the place, all over the world. They mention your name. They see your name in newspapers every time. They see you with presidents and things like that. Who will believe that your first pair of shoes was already when you were 12 years old? And so I will pitch to them that these stories need to come out. And as I'm a ghost writer, I can write your biography. So when you meet with these people, don't go there like a needy person, going there to beg for money. That's horrible. You will put them off. But always package value. Be somebody of value. Have something you can actually, so that in conversations, something can come up. And then somebody will say, okay, oh, you do this. Why not come over? Talk to my secretary. Set up an appointment. Come over to my office. And from there, you can come out of the situation. So we are going to explore this topic a little bit more, because I think that people are going through a lot. Meanwhile, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to be 60 in a few months, but this is the best time to be alive. Of all my 60 years, this is the best time to be alive in all respects, but you've got to key into it. All right. What was your aha moment today? Everybody, type in the comment section. I'll read a couple of them. And then also let me know where you are watching from. What were your aha moments today? And then some have already captured some of them. Fantastic. Yes. Randall says, Proverbs 22:4, by humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life. Thank you. I didn't even know that. What a powerful scripture. Yeah. If you are insisting that this thing is beneath you, this job is beneath you, you don't want to do it. Some of you, I even hear about people, they are going through financial challenges. And then a colleague of theirs or a friend of theirs offers them something. They say, no. How can you expect me to come and do that? Listen to me. If I have to be a chauffeur to go and drive somebody to raise money to make progress with my life, my goodness, I'm going to do it. I know amazing ladies today, fantastic ladies. They did nanny. They took nanny work. They are not nannies today. This one is doing so well. The lady I have in my mind that is doing so well. She's running her PhD somewhere in Europe right now. She's doing extremely well. But she was nanny. So don't say that, oh, this is beneath me. Take it. It might be the small exit. It might be the light. How did they put it? The light at the end of a tunnel that will now open the big one. But you're waiting. Oh, you're waiting to be appointed a board member. You're waiting to be called by Mr. President and then made commissioner. Nah, stop waiting to be commissioner. Go and sell fruit juice. Go to the market, buy mangoes, prepare it, go sell, go deliver in the offices, for goodness sake. Don't say I was an ex. That's what I did, even though I was ex-shell staff. And look at it today. If I hadn't done those things, do you think I'll be where I am today? So humility opens doors, okay? Festus says the billion contract comes from meeting with wealthy people. Exactly. And then when you meet them, please don't appear needy. Okay. Isaac says, I'm currently doing small scale fish farm, 1,000 fish. I'm 50 to 100 broiler in my compound, and it's paying me about 1 million as passive income each time I stocked. Fantastic. So people are doing these things. Okay, Onyeka says, find a way to meet with rich people. Fantastic. Okay. Velin says, which novel is that? It's not a novel, actually. It's a non-fiction. The title is Behave. Behave. But like I said, it doesn't matter. Read wide, because you never know where the idea is coming from. Okay, Kaka says, watching from Uganda. Hi, Kaka. Velin says, watching from Kenya. Good to meet you. Yeah, Festus aha moment. I'm more valuable than money. Fantastic. Okay, Carol says, wealth is patience and humility. Absolutely. Damieta says, aha moment is that never allow your challenges to affect your self-esteem. Very important. Peace says, my life is more valuable than money. From Benin. Okay, Issue says, okay, I don't get that one. Issue, okay. Issue is talking about Anunnaki. Oh my goodness. Okay. Randall is watching from Colonial Beach, okay, in the States. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So my final word, I'm encouraging you. Keep your hope alive, and then while you are hoping, take very small action just from where you are. Many times it's just a little tap. That little thing you open turns into a mighty hose. And then be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. The darkest hour of the night is an hour to morning. And then behind every cloud is a silver lining. The darkness will not last forever. Keep your self-esteem. Keep your values. Do not compromise your values. Do not compromise your morality because of money, because it's not worth it. By the time you get that money, you discover that you didn't need to compromise on your values to be able to make it. And then the Financial Fitness Challenge is open. That's my wealth mentorship group. If you want to join, the description of how to join is in the description section of this very video. So just click there and then join. We'll be very happy to welcome you, and then you join the community of people who support you. Whatever happens, keep showing up regardless, because you never know what's coming your way next. And I'll see you at exactly the same time on Wednesday evening. God bless you.